Welcome to MojoPlays. It's your local umbrella rep, Josh. Here's 15 forgotten Resident Evil games. For this list, we're going to be looking at a handful of games you likely don't know much about or missed out on, and a couple of officially branded Resident Evil titles that I'd be surprised if anyone remembers. Did any of these games unearth forgotten memories? I know of a few of them that are worth bringing back, but let me know your thoughts in the comments.
The horror is just beginning, and this time, it's personal.
Resident Evil Reverse. The audience hasn't quite forgotten, but has Capcom? Originally planned to release with Village, the hilariously titled RE-verse has been delayed again and again with no word yet on its release. This player v player free-for-all could be dead on arrival. She earns a place on this list because people keep forgetting it exists. With only open beta footage from months ago to refer to, we'll be giving it a spin when it comes out for sure, but only time will tell if it's worth remembering. Resident Evil Survivor.
I don't remember anything.
Released smack dab after Resident Evil 3, this PlayStation 1 light gun game appeared immediately dated by the time it was released. When compared to other RE titles, such as Code Veronica, who launched a month after, it was made apparently clear Survivor lacked the same polish of its sister titles. Poor review scores didn't help it any, but longtime fans occasionally recall this one for trying something new or introducing them to the idea of Resident Evil in a new way.
Umbrella. So this is where the city is controlled from.
Resident Evil, The Mercenaries 3D. Releasing two mixed reviews of either this is the best thing I've ever played to not even close to worth your money, Mercenaries 3D offers players a minigame mashup mode of enemy hordes to shoot on the go. The bland title and lack of any story content meant that few moments really stuck with players, with the exception, of course, of being able to waltz around with your 3DS friends and shoot zombies.
The Mercenaries 3D.
Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles.
What's wrong with this town? What the hell are they?
Hey, I'm a rookie. Don't ask me. I just got here.
This on-rail shooter deserves praise for what it is, but ultimately taking place 2 years before the events of Resident Evil 4, while vaguely covering events between RE3 and Code Veronica, meant that you're gonna have to be deeply familiar with the storyline to get anything out of it. The automated camera shake was just a bit too nauseating to play consistently, and it just didn't hit the same as an arcade game without the zapper accessory. Really, it exists as a fun side project for existing fans, but has been left behind to fossilize on the Nintendo Wii.
I'm Claire Redfield.
Damn, girl. You scared me.
Eyes forward.
Resident Evil Confidential Report, File Number 1. A subtle installment to the RE franchise, this time on mobile. The Confidential Report series are turn-based strategy games with a cast of all new characters who have obviously never been mentioned since. As far as we know, the games are canon, taking place in an underground Umbrella storage facility, but even after reading up on them and playing them, folks seldom remember these filler experimental games. And what is up with that title? Resident Evil Resistance. Well, a recent game, folks really aren't playing this online-only multiplayer survivor this year. Resistance was packaged with Resident Evil 3 Remake, in which you can team up with 3 friends in order to avoid a mastermind's obstacles or play the Jigsaw-esque mastermind yourself. This project doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of meat to it, despite having some fun features. And with Nemesis, Jill, and Leon all being playable in the continually supported 1v4 game Dead by Daylight, there's just not enough reason to boot this one up again.
A key to open the path to further danger.
Mojini Makeover. What is a Mojini, and why would you want to give it a makeover? Well, quite simply, it was an official RE browser game that let you create such abominations, such as this. Wow! Originally released to promote Resident Evil 5, you could submit your scarred, diseased, bug-eyed creation for a chance to win a copy of the game and some Intel Core processors for your PC. Whoever won, I hope it was worth defiling your profile pictures for all your friends to see. Patchy slot Biohazard. Indeed, you may have forgotten how big RE gambling really is. These official pachinko machines offer gameplay through the use of real-life cash money and virtual cutscenes. Characters will land or miss shots depending on what the slot machine lines up, and typically finish off an enemy with a headshot or unleash a super strong attack when getting a successful line. Capcom reported a healthy income from these cabinets, and honestly, they seem like a lot of fun, but these things would serve far better as a bonus mode to the mainline games using a fictional currency instead of losing your real dollars to a gambling machine. The Western audience may have forgotten the mass appeal of these things, but the patchy slot market is still going strong. Biohazard, Zombie Buster. Releasing in 2001, these puzzle action games took a cutesier art style and creative liberties to ignore the events of RE2 and 3. After the Mansion incident, iSurvivor, Zombie Buster, and Zombie Shooter all introduced new STARS members that are unique to this series of mobile games. The game itself is most comparable to a WarioWare microgame, where zombies must be shot or clicked to avoid reaching your character until a boss appears. Though despite a fun gimmick, it just didn't catch on. Resident Evil Outbreak.
For the first time ever, witness your own ghastly transformation into a zombie.
A multiplayer game where players could fill out the roles of an ordinary citizen. There ain't no Chris's, Jill's, or Leon's here, sports fans. Outbreak's big feature was to co-op your way through Raccoon City during the events of RE2 and 3 with full online support. It played well enough control-wise, but the lack of voice chat, big-name character appeal, and lengthy missions meant it couldn't stand the test of time like its fellow Resident Evils. An expansion was later launched called File 2, with the planned third file never coming to be. I'd say it's an idea worth revisiting nowadays, but it was a bit too ahead of its time for the PS2 era. Resident Evil Survivor 2, Code Veronica. Not to be confused with the mainline Code Veronica game, this title is another attempt at the light gun formula, except, get this, there is no plot at all, as the events of the game are actually a dream of Claire Redfield's. Being the sequel to the previously mentioned Survivor game, this one is likely the more forgotten of the two because it didn't do anything new. Not quite an FPS, not quite an arcade ride, folks just preferred to play the real Code V, and its extremely short length meant it was over and forgotten about by the day you bought it. Resident Evil Dead Aim. With a title like that, yes, another light gun shooter. They really used to crank these out, but at least Dead Aim features a unique story. This game takes us on a zombie-infested boat with heroes Bruce and Fong Ling, who bring about the end of Umbrella after the events of Raccoon City. The gameplay is a mix of third-person and first-person perspectives when shooting, which sounds like a really interesting formula, another which I wouldn't mind seeing a modern adaptation of. Maybe it was the bland title or generic cover that just sorta looks like an action movie parody, but it just didn't grab people's memories the way the other ones do, despite checking many of the RE boxes.
Looks like we accomplished our mission.
Resident Evil Gaiden. Underrated classic or point-and-click snooze fest? It's Resident Evil, yes, but it's on the Game Boy Color. Some serious changes were implemented to make this game work, including an Undertale-esque battle system using a cursor to shoot zombies. Despite starring Leon, this spin-off is once again non-canon, allowing it to make some surprisingly drastic changes. A 20-year-old spoiler warning: Leon is a shape-shifting bioweapon. Understandably, this silly little handheld entry just doesn't come up in conversation very often. Resident Evil Deadly Silence.
Wesker is here. He's...
Oh, I know. Anyway, let's get out of here.
Alright team, we're remaking the first Resident Evil for the S. How do we title this bad boy? And that is probably how the awkward subtitle of Deadly Silence came along. Heavily overshadowed by RE Remake, everything about this cover, to me, implies you can skip this one. Again, it's by no means a bad game, it's the first Resident Evil, but the added touch controls to swing the knife doesn't do anything to improve on what the GameCube was capable of doing for the same game, and it's been rarely spoken of since.
It's me, Chris.
Is that you, Rebecca?
Resident Evil 2 on the Tiger Gamecom. No lie, the only reason anyone has ever heard of it is because of how obscure it is. The Tiger Gamecom was a cheap handheld alternative that miraculously supported a black and white version of Resi 2. Well, most of Resi 2. If you don't care about large chunks of the game such as, you know, Claire, anyone used to a console more powerful than a potato will likely find this unplayable, as the shooting, walking, and animation speeds leave much to be desired. Let's just say it was a neat attempt, and let this game, quote-unquote, fade away while we go play RE2 Remake again. Well hey, that's all from me. What was your favorite Resident Evil on this list? If more than one of them, you're probably a trailblazer in the wacky world of spin-offs. Here's hoping a few of these games get the undead treatment and are brought back to life. Just the really good ones though. Alright, take it away.
Check out this other recent clip from MojoPlays, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.